All right, here on the Just Basketball Show with Alex Caruso. He is here for Travis Matthew, a new partner of the brand. We'll talk about that in 1 second. Alex, I hate to bring up something negative off the top. I hope it's not negative, but the NBA world, I see you tweeting. I know you're watching. The NBA world can't get enough of Jimmy Butler. You kind of got the beginning of the inferno that he's been, just like on fire. And you obviously saw him in the 2020 finals. My question for you guys actually, it seemed like kind of held him in relative check. He didn't even shoot 50% in that play-in game. Obviously the loss, I'm sure, doesn't make that any better, but what do most of us watching him at home not notice about maybe just what makes him so honestly looks impossible to guard?
Yeah, I mean, for starters, he's got that, that competitive drive, that competitive instinct to just do whatever it takes to win. So that kind of drives everything and motivates everything. And then once he gets to the playoffs, I've talked about this before with people, like he becomes an elite shot maker in the postseason. Like you can't really look at his numbers coming into a series or into a game like us, the playing game. You kind of have to just expect him to shoot well because, I mean, as you see, he's making threes. He's hitting fadeaway mid-range. He's getting to his spots and getting to the rim. Like he really can do just about everything on the basketball court. And then, he's a freak athlete and he's really smart.
So kind of staying on the defensive end, I don't know if the average NBA fan realizes that you guys in Chicago finished as a top 10 defense this season. Mm-hmm. Just, young role players, some guys that maybe aren't always known for defense. That's a huge accomplishment. What do you think made things click on that end for you guys this year?
Yeah, I think we really just bought in to kind of helping each other. We obviously had great individual defenders in certain points. Me, obviously Pat Bev joined us halfway through the year. Drum was pretty big for us in the paint this year. And then, like you said, some young players, and Ayo DeSumo. I thought Pat Williams and Kobe White really took a step defensively, just understanding how to play and how to use their bodies. And we all just kind of bought in and kind of played for each other in that end. And that's not to say we didn't, have nights where we didn't do our jobs or guys didn't get, 30, 40, 50, but that's the NBA and guys are going to do that regardless if you're top defense or not. But yeah, I think it was a really good job of us just, maintaining the focus for it all year. And, that's something that can be constant every night, whether shots go in or not.
All right. I have a couple follow-ups on that, but tell me about what you have going on with Travis Matthew. And honestly, give our audience like one item in the catalog that gets your kind of highest recommendation. What's the thing people should be clicking on immediately and trying out if they haven't?
Got you. Well, yeah. So Travis Matthew, I think I've been with him since 2021, just a little over 2 years, and they've been great partners to work with. The people are great. Anytime I have to do a social content post or a content capture, it's usually the same group of people, and they're just regular people, just like me, just really, really easy going. And the products, I mean, they kind of speak for themselves. Like it was involuntary. I was thinking about walking up to my iPad to get this, and I got Travis Matthew hat and shirt on, and it's just become, part of my closet and part of my wardrobe on a daily basis. One piece is tough. I think the newest thing for me, they have this series called the Cloud series that they came out with, I think, in the last year. And it's just super soft. They have sweats, they got sweatshirts, and then my favorite are the shorts. So they're just super, super, super soft cotton shorts that I can wear, to bed, to the store, hanging out at home. Like the Cloud series has really done it for me, but then the shorts is something I've recently come across.
All right, love it. I'm in Arizona, so shorts is a year-long thing. There's not really a non-shorts
here,
time.
So it's needed.
You got it. All right, so I want to talk about Pat Bev. I'm sure it's one thing to play against him, one thing to see him in games. We had a big laugh on the show this year just with the camera, with the LeBron foul in that one game, and showing the ref evidence, I guess you could say. But what's it like being that dude's teammate, getting to, team up to try to take down a backcourt with that guy kind of in your corner and just in your locker room day to day?
Yeah, I was anxious at first when I said we got him, just because, I only, had everybody else's point of view from outside looking in. Obviously you see there's a little bit of antics, and he's an emotional player at times, but I have some of that emotion that runs through me too. And I quickly found out, he's consummate professional, does anything to win. He's a really, really good teammate, takes care of his teammates, makes sure that he's looking out for the other guys. It was a it was a pleasant surprise just to have him around. And then obviously the basketball part of it. Me and him, saw the game defensively and even offensively, just being able to take advantage of certain stuff and make the game easier for DeMar, Zach, Vooch, and then just be pests on defense and kind of cover for each other when we go rogue, and try to get some steals or some deflections.
Did he have any good Chicago spots? I mean, that's the other part of it, right? I'm sure he had some things to tell you guys about or show you around. Hey, try this, try that. He's a local.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised. Vooch is actually the foodie on the team, so he probably had more food recommendations than Pat. But I know Pat just loved being at home, and that's kind of what doubled down. He's already a high energy, very active guy, and then getting to play in front of home crowd, I'm sure in front of friends and family just about every night. It was a really big boost for him.
All right. The other thing I wanted to pick up on from what you said about the team and the defense this year was, it's almost like I feel like watching the league this year. I don't want to say it's not a negative or like a frustration to let somebody go off for 30, 40 points, but it felt like it happened every day.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was looking through the DPOY votes and you got a few. I feel like this was a really strong season from you there. But at the same time, like you said, there's still nights where you went home and you're like, how did that guy shoot 60% and score 45
kept
points?
Me up till 2 a.m. thinking about it.
What's that like? I mean, what do you feel like? What does that feel like to watch and be part of the league with such a big offensive explosion? And what do you think explains it? Have you thought about that at all, of why this is happening? Because it feels insane to just turn on League Pass every night and watch what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, the league is it's more skilled than it's ever been. I don't know the number, but I know there's a record number of players that average 30 plus points per game this year. I saw something on JJ Redick's podcast, Old Man at Three, about like comparing. I can't remember what era it was. I think it was the Suns back when they had Steve Nash, and they were like viewed as like, pick and roll, spread it out, running gun, and like they would have been like the 28th best offense or offensive rating this year. And it's just the evolution of the game, man. Everyone's skilled, everyone's trying to play more space, shoot more threes. A little bit of analytics come in. People are trying to do the whole free throw, layups, threes. And I mean, the league is not dumb. They're smart. They know that offense sells, and they know that that's something that people want to show up and watch. They want to see 120 to 125. They don't want to see 90 to 95, just for consumer basis. But yeah, for me, man, it's just like I got to go out there and try and do my job every night at a high level. And if I do it, then I'll probably have the best player on the other team. So it's usually home guard. They'll probably go there like for their average, maybe a point or two below their average. And if you don't do your job, then that's when you get the outliers. That's when you get like the 40s and the 50s. But yeah, it's not a one-man job anymore in the league. Usually, looking back, I remember just watching old players, like Tony Allen, Ron Artest, like guys, you could just be super physical and just kind of almost just hand check and then use length and activity. And the way the game's called now, like those guys would have to change their game just because, being able to use your hands or like an arm bar is kind of outlawed.
So without asking about the officiating or how things have changed with the entertainment product, because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
That was
I appreciated the podcast plug there too. It's a great company man a little bit there. But Mikal Bridges, I have his jersey behind me. I'm finally able to be a complete fanboy because he's not in Phoenix, and I don't have to pretend like I didn't love covering that dude anymore. So he told me, because I've covered him for most of his career before the trade, that the big thing he learned coming up through the league, and you've been in the league a while now too, is like, it's one thing to have the talent to be naturally gifted on defense to commit to that end, but it's another thing to guard over seasons and seasons the same couple dudes over and over. You know their tendencies, what the game plan is, what your coaching staff wants you to do against them, on and on. But if it's that, then speak on that. But what do you feel like has been where you've grown the most on defense? Because it's not just static, right? Like you're great at defense. You want to keep getting better at it. What's been the biggest thing for you on that end of the floor?
Yeah, you have to keep getting better. You know, you think about guys go home for the summer and they always talk about adding stuff to their game. It's like if you don't go home and, you know, kind of advance, I mean, there's not much you can do defensively at that, you know, at a certain point, maybe you can work on strength or quickness. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's about the knowledge of the game, you know, understanding, like you said, player tendencies, sets teams run, just being able to compete at a high level and not have, you know, I guess what's that Ted Lasso is like, be like a goldfish. So you got to be able to forget and just go again and go again and go again, because these guys, like I said, you play the best defense of your life and they're going to get their average and make some tough shots, and you got to be okay with it. And some of that, you know, if you let them making a couple tough shots or a couple bad calls go their way, if you let that affect you, now all of a sudden, you know, you're opening up that threshold for them to go and get those big numbers. But yeah, I think for me, it's about being smart. You know, you got to understand what guys like to do, the little tricks and stuff like that. Like you got to know Trae Young, Dame, they like the little stop and shot coming off the three. You know, Chris Paul, when he's in the bonus, is going to do the rip through. Luka's a big pump fake guy. Just knowing guys' tendencies to be able to try and, you know, be as disciplined and make it as tough for them as possible. Because we've said multiple times already, like they're going to get theirs eventually.
All right, last question for you. What's an ideal off-season day look like for you? How are you going to be spending the summer, getting away from things or in the gym? What's your summer like?
Ideal off-season day, let's say it's like middle of the off-season. I'll wake up. I got a weight room at the house, so I'll probably lift here sometime early morning, get to a gym, work out for, you know, an hour and a half, and then come back around noon, have some lunch, and go play golf.
And some Travis Matthew stuff, right?
Yeah, Travis Matthew hat, polo, shorts, hitting them straight.
All right, I love it. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for having me on.